Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to show you how to make a delicious Middle Eastern meatloaf-like recipe called Kibbeh Sanieh mashi. Translated, this means stuffed kibbi baked in an oven tray. This is a recipe that my family has made and passed along to me, and I'm going to show you step by step how to make it. Let's get started. The first thing to do is give 1.5 cups of cracked wheat a good wash in water and allow it to soak for up to an hour. Then drain away the water and set it aside. Cracked wheat is also known as birghal in Arabic. Only use the fine birghal for this recipe. In a fry pan on a high heat, I'll add in a little oil and brown off 1/2 cup of pine nuts, then remove them from the heat and set them aside. I'll start making the stuffing, also known as hashwa. I mince my own meat. This is 250 grams of lean meat, which I use my processor to get into a fine texture. In the fry pan, I'll brown off the meat and add in 2 medium onions that have been diced. Once they're almost done, then I'll add in the spices, which are 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, 1/2 teaspoon of sumac, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Then I'll mix the spices through and add in the pine nuts and turn off the heat and set them to the side. Next is making the actual kebbeh, which will be the bottom and top layers of the bake. It starts with 300 grams of lean meat, which I'm going to mince in the food processor. This is lamb. Then I'm going to add in fresh herbs, which tend to change slightly as to what I have on hand, but always has oregano and a couple of mint leaves. Then I slice 1 medium onion and add it in, and add in the seasoning and set off the machine. The seasoning is basically double what we put in the hashwa, which is 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, 1 teaspoon of salt. I run the food processor until the meat becomes a fine paste. I put the birghal, the fine cracked wheat, in the processor and let it run until it mixes well. Please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the new videos I have coming out. Before I start putting together the kibbi tray, I will preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Now is the fun part of putting the tray together. First of all, I'll divide the kibbi mix evenly and begin to shape it in the bottom of the tray, occasionally dipping my hands in the water to help smooth out the kebbeh. As I'm using a Pyrex baking tray, I won't need to add oil to the bottom to stop it from sticking. However, if you are using other metal trays, I would suggest adding oil first. Once I've ensured that the layer is evenly flattened across the bottom of the baking tray, I'll move on to adding the hashwa mix. This I'll just make sure to add evenly across the top of the kebbeh. Now to do the top layer, which I'll do in pieces to ensure that I'm entirely covering the hashwa beneath it. Once it's fully covered, I poke a hole in the center and begin to cut it, which will help us remove it in sections after it's cooked. Traditionally, this is made in a circular baking tray, so I guess the hole in the middle acted as a guide for cutting as well as an oil reservoir. I pour some olive oil, about 1/3 cup, and then tilt the dish to ensure that it spreads evenly across the top of the kebbeh. Now I cover the kebbeh in some aluminium foil, and I'll put it in the oven to bake for about 20 minutes before removing the foil. Then allowing it to bake until the top of the Kibbeh sanieh becomes a nice golden brown colour. Once it's done, I'll remove it from the oven and allow it to cool for about 10 minutes before serving. Just look at how appetizing this looks, and it's a very tasty dish. It's so yummy. Kibbeh is delicious served with some natural yogurt and Lebanese bread, or just eaten by itself. If you give this recipe a go, let me know how you went with it in the comment section below. Please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the new videos I have coming out. I'm going to be making a video on how to make those cute little kebbeh footballs, as well as a kebbeh in a delicious yogurt and mint sauce like a stew. They'll be linked on here or in the video description box once it's on my channel. Thanks for watching and see you for the next video.